I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's a filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at vinsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go on the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy merch.
There you are.
There you are indeed.
And a child shall lead them. Hey, you guys, don't forget, check out our merch. We have that the skull one up there. It's actually pretty cool.
Is that the Till We Die one?
Yeah, it's the Till We Die one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one.
It's got 2 versions.
That one's a really, really good one. Somebody's like, you've improved. You've stepped up your game.
We did. Well, one of our villagers did anyway. Up next on our DJ stream is a song called Panta,
Rhei, I think it is. Something about Phantom Light, maybe. They're a French band, and I do not know how to pronounce the name of this band. Aephanemer is my best guess. Having said that, dear listener, the time has arrived. Aephanemer, Panta Rhei. Let's go. Oh, yes. Very talented indeed.
one just kept getting crazier. Like,
You mean as far as like the
instrumentally?
Yeah. So this is like a first of all, this is Controller of Mind's like guiding life philosophy, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's I'm pretty sure that's what he said.
Sonically what they did with it. Have you ever seen those scenes where like chaos keeps breaking out more and more and more, and like by the end the parent or the adult just like gives up and is just like laying there, and you might see something that's like it just felt like just give up. Musically, just you gotta just go with this. It just kept increasing, and I don't know how to describe it, but I very much enjoyed it.
There's 2 women in the band and 2 men in the band.
I was so glad they had those
female vocalists. Yeah, I love it when there's female vocals in metal, but I was surprised because I didn't know that there was going to be a female vocalist in the in the band.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Apparently, you're low on volume. That's because your
got unplugged.
Your mic. There you go.
Thank you, Sarcast. Appreciate it.
Okay, it's one of the core philosophies of his life. Okay. So here go the lyrics. He says, so I think he's talking about this concept of like the constant flow. To forget the law of constant change is like swimming against a tide. All passes, nothing remains, yet our identity fictions abide. Which is a very interesting, remember the what we were watching yesterday about the mind and perceptibility and the different, there's your social self and there's the, but it is true. Like, when people say, a lot of times people say things that are really strange, like never change.
Yeah, or they say in a relationship, you've changed so much. You're not the person I met.
You're not the person
10 years ago.
Which
didn't know we were being held to the standard of not growing.
It's really interesting. Like, if you look at it physically, if you take that concept, most of the time when they say you've changed, you're talking metaphysically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, you've changed your mindset, or you've changed, like, how you think, or the way that you talk, or whatever, or what you believe, or whatever. But if you just translate it to the physical realm, you see how ridiculous it is. Like, imagine me going up to Orion and being like, "You've changed. You're not the
baby we brought from the hospital.
The little spinny baby that I saw in the womb. Like, now you're walking and talking and jumping and you're shoving away food and all that. Like, you've changed. Like, what do you mean, bro? Like,
depart from me."
Yeah, like, you're supposed to change that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're supposed to change. So, that was really interesting until he calls it your identity fictions abide, which is not necessarily a scary thought if you're a very self-aware person, but a lot of people have fictions about their identity.
Yeah.
Like, they have stories about their identity, and a lot of it is rooted in resisting the fact that they're a changed person. And for some reason, a lot of us want to hold on to this idea that we're one thing, the person that we were. Yeah, and that's why I've said, but, I'm not aware of it. I think there are subtle changes that change us every day. But I don't have that degree of self-awareness yet. But I do know that, certain major events in my life have absolutely changed me. Like, I'm a completely different person because of the loss of my mother-in-law and my mother about a year and a half, 2 years apart. It made me a completely different person. The last trip I took made me a very, very different person. So, like, on the big things, I can say I have enough self-awareness, because I know a lot of guys, like, especially in the world that I was in, previously.
So I was right then.
Previously, your career depends on saying that you were unchanged by running into certain situations. Like, so, you go and you talk to people after certain things happen, and you're like, how are you doing, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, yeah, it's fine. And it's like, well, this and this happened, so they're like, well, it comes with the territory, and it's true, it does come with the territory, but it does change you. I will say that my last trip did not change me anywhere near the degree that, my mother-in-law and my mom changed me. Like, but it absolutely, it absolutely did. But I think, we were watching that thing where the room changed.
Yeah.
And
I wish I would have been putting on the subtitles.
If you would have put on the before and after of that the room looks not completely and totally different.
I mean, quite a few things changed in it.
Right, and the guy
said... Like an exercise ball was there, and it's completely gone in the next clip.
He said, I don't even know, and he's done this drill a bunch of times in the talk. He's like, I don't even know how much of the room has changed. Mm-hmm. He said, because one of his students made it. But basically, the room had changed subtly, but it was so subtle that you didn't know, so you thought you were looking at the same room, and there is a sense in which you're looking at the same room and not. Mm-hmm. And and that's some of the conversation, especially with Philo around the logos, where you never cross the same stream twice. It's
what I was just thinking of,
right? And I think this is actually mentioned in the in this thingamajig here.
Soon downstream in the watershed, all the rivers will... No, right there? No?
Yeah, Sarcast, I don't know, maybe he thinks he was joking, but...
Oh, right there. Water remains to stay the same.
Right. I think Sarcast is joking here, kind of, but, I'm a completely different person after having eaten ice cream for the first time in my life, which was possibly when I was 3. But...
It's I think it's true though, yeah. Everything changes you.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you're a different person. I got saved when I was very, very young, and so because of my relationship with God, I have a horrible, I hate mayonnaise. Because if you're righteous, you're obviously going to hate mayonnaise. When God changes your nature, you understand that mayonnaise is probably... You can't get higher on the abomination scale than mayonnaise.
He says he hates mayonnaise, but there's actually a meal that he loves, and I cook it all the time, and it includes mayonnaise. He just doesn't know. So
that's a lie. She's lying.
Did you see me wink on the screen? Lie. I meant to know. I was like, shoot. After I winked, I'm like, dang it, he can see me. It would have been better to get your reaction. Anyway, yeah, carry on.
Yeah, but that line, identity fictions, is a crazy line, man. Because I'm going back and forth with somebody in our house. I'm like, bro, you're delusional.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? And it's for something right now that's insignificant. It's about a video game. But a lot of us are serious. That's why I said us, seriously delusional. And then you say to yourself, I asked this person, I said, listen, if you were delusional, how would you know?
I know.
So, that's why, I read the comment sections on certain issues because I know that comment section is going to generate a bunch of controversy. Mm-hmm. And then I say, okay, this is an outsider who doesn't like me, love me, and knows that they're not going to be in a relationship with me, so they're going to tell me something. So I read, and I scroll through about 100 of them.
That's interesting.
And I find a criticism, and they're usually long form and very well thought out. And I find a criticism where somebody has really thought something through in the criticism, and I go, and that's very helpful to me. Other things, it's like they're just going to lash out and go, rah! And, they're all emotional and all the rest of it. And, politically speaking, shit's been very emotional for people in the last 4 years and all the rest of it. But all of us have identity fictions. All of us do. That we don't see. And the problem is that people that love us generally, we can't trust them. Because they're not going to tell you when you're getting along. And then when you're not getting along, they're going to spit them out. But you can't trust it because you're like, you're just saying that because you're mad at me. You weren't saying that, yesterday or whatever. So I've utilized the comment sections a bunch of times. And it's been very, very helpful. It's helped how I engage people. It's helped how I think about things. It's helped about certain assumptions that I have. But, again, people only want to hear good things about themselves.
Yeah.
It's to the point where, somebody says something bad to you about you in a YouTube comment section. People really take it it really screws up their day. But if you can actually say one of these people is revealing an identity fiction, then they're one of your best helpers.
Yeah.
One of your best helpers if you can do it.
Yeah, if you can not be offended by the fact that they're pointing stuff out. Yeah.
For Heraclitus, if everything is in constant flux, there must be a constant principle that governs everything. The logos. I agree. So, like, if the room is constantly changing, what's making the room remain the room? And in that universe, it's the guy who designed the little picture, the doohickey. He is the logos principle.
Right.
The guy on the outside. Yes, the room is in flux. And it was programmed that way, but the guy on the outside who designed the room in the first place gave us a general outline that makes the room still roomy, if that makes any sense. Here we're unable to move, drown in the maelstrom of pretense. Here Xenos Turtle proves that stillness is not a lasting defense. These guys are amazing. They're able to rhyme and all this stuff. I'm just constantly amazed at this. These guys are French. So Xenos Turtle is... basically, if you give Achilles is very fleet-footed, right? He's very fast. If you give the turtle a head start, he will always be ahead of Achilles because when Achilles gets to the point where the turtle started, the turtle will be at another point, etc., etc. So that shows that everything is constantly in flux and everything is constantly in motion. Basically, I think is where they're going. Stillness is not a lasting defense because if a turtle can outrun Achilles, then just being still isn't going to change anything because the flow of time is going this way. You're going to get caught up in it. So even if you're still going to be going. You're still going to be proceeding. Which is interesting because...
You mean because time is always pushing forward? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and I don't know if it's time, but just the essence of the universe itself is always in flux. Everything is always in motion.
Yeah, sometimes when I think about the past, the present, and the future, like if you just stop and you think about that and how it's rotating right through that while you're thinking about it. The past is becoming a more distant past. The present just became the past, and the future just became the present. But you're still in the present, and there's still the future. And it's like your head can get all like, "What is going on?" I like those thoughts though.
Yeah, and to Sarkast's point, our perception of reality is what is actually of a fraction of what really is, and therefore fractured. Agreed, and that can be proven mathematically, but that's a different discussion. But that's really interesting because a lot of the Eastern, like, so for example, when we're in the sauna, it's like 225 or something like that.
Yeah, between 220 and 240.
Like the 11-minute mark, or like once we've got about, because you stay about 30 minutes in it, 32 minutes in it, and once you start hitting that, you start. It's interesting because I was watching something and like your body's in distress.
You feel it sometimes. You feel like you're moving around.
You hear your heart beating in your ears.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And like you're here, and your body's like,
check with your doctor before you go in a sauna for that extended period of time.
Yeah, don't do that. Like we built up as there is a lot of science behind how we got there. We built up a certain level of tolerance and all the rest of it, and it's timed like to the second, literally. So don't go and but I mean it's got certain benefits for us. But like when your body starts sending those distress signals, I start moving. And then I say to myself, okay, this is why I'm in the sauna. The real reason I stay in that long is because I want to have that mental battle. So like when I get that inclination, okay, it's time to start moving because your body's in a fight or flight situation. Stillness in the middle of that is the goal.
Yep.
So it's really interesting.
Well, we both have different goals, I think. Yeah. So yours is that mine is I'm trying to find peace. I want to have that like kind of centered sort of feeling. And so when I'm in there and I can start feeling myself getting all panicky or whatever, I just say to myself, hold on, like just find your peace in here. And things become more or less terrible depending on how you look at them. If you're looking at it as, oh my gosh, I'm stuck in this room. I'm going to be in here for another 15 more minutes. It's friggin' hot in here. People have been sweating. They've been sweating on this wood I'm sitting on. Now I'm sitting on, your head can really, everybody's breathing the same air. Like it can get really gross for me. Maybe it's because I'm a little bit OCD. I don't know. But I have to stop and just be like, okay, just enjoy the heat and just breathe in, breathe out and just kind of find that like I guess the control of your own emotions and thoughts without letting everything just run wild.
Yeah, because it definitely triggers that fight mechanism. But it's interesting that's a paradox. I don't know if it's a contradiction, but on the one hand, the song is saying, look, stillness really isn't a defense, and you have to understand that everything is in flux. But simultaneous to that, you have to formulate some exercise where you can be still. Mm-hmm. And I think it's one of the curses of the modern world is our inability to be still. You know, we always have to be moving around, or we always have to hear something, or something always has to be playing, or whatever, or, you know, we've got a 24-hour news cycle. So it's very, very difficult to be still. Back in the day, you had a rhythm because you were basically beholden to nature. And then we've discovered things like electricity and things like that. And so our rhythms are no longer beholden to nature. You kind of have to be more disciplined than our forefathers were in order to get actual rest or achieve actual stillness and meditation. Mm-hmm. So now you literally, I mean, meditation and stillness is like, it's literally millions of multi-million-dollar industry. Like LeBron James has this thing called Calm and all the rest of it. So it's interesting, like, if everything is in flux, but one of the ways of, you know, be still and know that I'm God, that's probably the solution for us, right? Is because the reason everything is in flux is because God has wound up the universe to be that way. So being still means let God carry you to where you need to go without resisting it. Mm-hmm. So like Brother Lawrence says, you know, whatever God has for him in the day, that's what he's going to be satisfied with. Whether it's washing dishes, you know, martyrdom, you know, stubbing his toe, he's gonna accept it. Mm-hmm. And enjoy it to a degree, which I'm not sure how you avoid quietism with that worldview. Because quietism? Quietism. It's basically you don't do anything and God does everything, and that's not the way either, because God wants you to be a participator in creation. Mm-hmm. So the song is very challenging for me lyrically, because I definitely see the point in what it's saying, and I'm pretty sure I agree with it based on the scientific stuff we've been looking at probably for the last 8 months. I'm pretty sure I agree with it. But simultaneous to that, on the metaphysical side, stillness is a goal that I'm trying to accomplish. So it's very interesting.
Yeah.
What do you got?
You mean for a score, or?
Any other thoughts before we jump into Insomnium?
No, I think it's a quest that a lot of us are on. I'm sure that there are some people that have kind of found that sort of zen where they're able to not allow circumstances and situations to get them all in an upheaval. But then there are some of us that are not that far down the path on that, and the slightest thing will just throw us off. So I definitely think I like the idea of finding that center, kind of getting to that calm and
stillness.
Relating to what you said, leaning on God and just saying, okay, well, look, whatever comes down the path today, like, this is what was sent to me, and I can't determine what's sent to me, but I can determine how I react to it. And I think that there's a lot of peace if we can really kind of grasp onto that. As far as what I would rate the song, I'm gonna go with it started low and it kind of kept climbing. I'm gonna go with a 9 even.
Yeah, Sarcast. There are mixed saunas in the U.S. Yes, everybody wears clothes. Bless God.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, is it better to have a sweater on? Because one time I wore a hoodie. I didn't really want to wear the hoodie because the hoodie kind of gave me like a bubble. Then I wear like this thermal. It's kind of like this, only it's like more hot. I want to suffer the most that I possibly can. Or as a tank top or completely shirtless, more suffering. What can I do to maximize suffering in the sauna? Before you answer that question, I'm going to give you my score. My score is a 9.874.
Wow.
9.874.
Wow.
Really, really love the song. Couldn't give it a 10 because I liked the previous song before. Stay tuned, dear listener. Insomnium is next. Insomnium is next, dedicated to the grandmother of Controller of Minds. You are not going to want to miss it.
It was a grandmother? Sorry, out.
Go!
It's a great grandfather, I believe.
Later, Sadie.